Blasphemy.
Freebird. Coming to you not quite live from Peanut Studios. I'm Sascha Saintevic. With me is Briano Hawk. Briano, give us a shout out.
What up?
What up? Shout outs going back to the old MTV days.
Oh yeah, Yo MTV Raps.
Yeah. Total Request Live. I'd like to give a shout out to my mama and my baby mama. Hopefully not the same person.
Yeah, well, unless you're redneck.
I think that's a redneck Total Request Live edition.
Yeah.
Good times, good times.
Yeah.
MTV, what has become of you?
Yeah. Whatever. Anyways.
All right, moving on to the topic for today. I want to talk about alter egos. Musicians and alter egos.
Yeah.
Namely, there are some musicians who take on alter egos and that pretty much is what you know them as. Someone like Buckethead.
Wait. I've heard this conversation before.
Every conversation you and I have is a conversation we've heard before, my friend.
Just kidding. But yes, Buckethead.
But someone like Buckethead, where that is their alter ego, you don't know them as anything else. Although I know now you can look him up on Wikipedia and you can see his whole biography and his whole true history. For the longest time, he had a couple of different backgrounds floating around that people just came up with just because there was a whole mystery around him. And it added a certain flair to his persona. Yeah. But then you also have people who sort of take on alter egos that it's just sort of dialed up versions of themselves. Like some people are probably pretty much close to what they are, but in order to be on stage, you have to have let certain sides of you out that you don't in a daily life. Let's say, simple example, someone like Eminem probably channels certain personas maybe more aggressive, but they probably are still really him. Yeah. Because, he's got the whole Eminem, Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers, and pretty much 1,000 different characters there, so somewhat schizophrenic about it. Rappers in general, though, a lot of times, they'll take on different names.
Master
and,
P.
And they'll come up with names that fit the persona that they want to go with. So that's a big
50
staple.
Cent. He's worth 25 though.
So surprisingly, even though some people might think, but look at name, Tupac Shakur's name is Tupac Shakur.
Yeah, actually Tupac Shakur.
But where Puff Daddy changes his name a billion times.
Yeah.
So rappers and rock heavy shock rockers, Alice Cooper, Mellow Manson.
Alice Cooper.
Even Dee Snider from Twisted Sister. It's a persona he put up there. Yeah. And it's funny to me, and these are sort of stables where authenticity is often seen as the hallmark of what makes you successful amongst fans. But they don't see someone taking on an alter ego as a violation of that sort of authenticity brand. Even though they know to a certain extent, they're emphasizing parts of they're creating characters. Yeah. Which emphasize parts of personality traits that they want to put across. But fans are sort of if it triggers or it channels a certain image that the fans like, they sort of don't see that as, well, you're not being yourself. As opposed to someone I mentioned last year, someone like Vanilla Ice. You can say Vanilla Ice was playing a character when it first came out, but the story he was trying to present himself was a lie. Yeah. So why do you think there's a difference in bridge there? Why can't they just say, well, he was playing a character too?
Because that was his whole persona, his whole character is being that one thing, trying to sell that one, image, I guess, that one item that he has. So he can try to go back to a normal life in a sense, I guess, I thought when Slipknot started, they didn't, get on personas of changing their names really, but they didn't really have their names out there. But they stayed in masks for the longest time. Now pretty much you can kind of see who they are, what they look like for them, if you get on the internet and stuff, because you have seen them, they've done bands without their masks and stuff. And I think if they kept their masks on the whole time, they did their thing for any time they showed up as Slipknot or anything, and kept themselves completely separate from the music scene and Slipknot and that stuff, when they're out of the masks, people would know who they were, you know. And that's something that I think is kind of cool. If you want to keep your music life, your famous life, and your actual regular life separate, that's something you could do, is keep it a completely different persona and like use masks, use, you know, whatever, image altering looking stuff.
Right.
Kind of like what I think Sia does. No one's really ever seen her. Like, she doesn't show up on videos and stuff. She has other people there. She just sings. You know, and I think that's, you know, that's something that's like, okay, she just wants you to hear her music, not what she looks like. But I'm sure people have seen her. You know, I personally haven't seen her because I'm not really interested in it. You know, it's not really my music or my scene for that. But some people are, and some people like her, and whatever. And so she still does that. Know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but with someone like Slipknot, to go back to them, they sort of blended the two styles because they use their real names, but they have very common Anglo names like Curry and Joey. Yeah. Like they are names, so like, this is Canaanite.
Yeah,
yeah. Like they have very forgettable names.
Yeah,
in some sense, but it is, so their image wise was really what you remembered, as opposed to someone like Marilyn Manson, whose name is Brian.
Yeah.
Like, he changed the whole name, and so did the other men. They had a whole motif where they took the model names and the serial killer names.
So Madonna Wayne Gacy.
Yeah. But we can go even as far back as
Twiggy, Ramone.
Yeah, but we can go back as far as Kiss.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so like them like putting on like a demon with the, for some reason Peter Chris was a cat. No one wants to be Peter Chris. Peter
the
Chris
Star Child or whatever.
Yeah, one was like an alien, the other one was a star, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but nobody sees that though nowadays. Kiss is seen as being somewhat clownish, where Slipknot isn't. Like,
yeah, and I mean, you can go back to even further. As people say, "Oh well, Slipknot was the first or whatever." You know, some people who don't really know, but like Gwar, who that's their whole thing. They're gory, they're, you know, whatever, and it's what they did is a big mask thing. They're very showy and, you know, whatever, and they're not like that on their, you know, outside of the music stuff, whatever. Some people actually, I don't think, know what they look like or what their actual names are. I've listened to Gwar and stuff. I don't mind them. It's not like my favorite band or anything, but I mean, I listen to stuff like that, and I don't know who the hell they are. I've read interviews on them, and I still don't know what some of them look like. You know, and so there's that older stuff, because Gwar is like late 80s and 90s and stuff like that. And I don't think they ever made it like really, really big, but they, you know, they're known. So, you know, stuff like that.
For a while, Chris Jericho tried in his band, Fozzy. He tried to create a completely separate personality, and I don't know whether, I think it was partly supposed to be a joke, but Mongoose McQueen was the name of the lead singer, and he would pretend like Chris Jericho stole his look and stole all his stuff, like he hated him, even though it's obviously the same person. It's the same person, and sometimes he would, like, when he would make an appearance, he would like be like as Chris Jericho, like, you know, like, now Fozzy's gonna play, so, and he would disappear, quote unquote. Yeah. And then the other guy would pop up. So it was pretty stupid.
Yeah, but I mean, they try to do it. But then again, I mean, they're trying to do that with wrestling. It's
with wrestlers. I mean, all this stuff is like fake characters in some sense. None of them are themselves.
Yeah. So it's.
I feel though that this is very much a relic of a previous music generation, or like the ones who are in this style. You know, they're still keeping it going because that's their look. But I somehow don't really see the sort of alter ego embrace happening on a mainstream scale with people coming out now. And I think partly it might be because you can find out so much about a person that anyone who tried, the mystery will be dead with one Google search.
Yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, unless you keep them completely separate and like never, you know, state that the fact that one is the other or whatever, or show up in the same, you know, ideal venue in a sense. But even then, you would have to try to keep it separate. But I mean, you'd have to really work hard to have people not know who you are, what's happening and stuff like that. Because, you know, with the internet nowadays, like I said, it's very hard to do anything. You know, you've said that. You know,
you would have to be pretty much Amish. You have to have been brought up Amish so that there's no record of you anywhere.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, and then you break out at the not necessarily, but yes.
Because it would have to be kind of
like that. Because I mean, if me or you started a band and we didn't mention it, and we just completely kept it separate. Didn't mention it in the podcast. Didn't mention anything. Kept completely separate from it. And wore masks or do whatever the hell we had to do. And, then it'd be very hard for people to pick it up. But I mean, you would literally have to change not just your appearance, but like everything, your mannerisms, your height, whatever. Like me, I would have to wear a fat suit all the time and stay my chunkiness, or get into girdle, make myself look really skinny, and wear stilts and stuff. Put myself at like 7'2". But even then,
at some point,
wear masks and stuff and talk all high pitched, and then we'd be like, "Oh, that's no one. I don't know who that guy is."
At some point, somewhere, you would have to use your name on something.
Yeah.
And at some point, somewhere, and if you're big enough, some fan somewhere is going to dig that up.
Yeah.
And somebody somewhere knew you at some point. So an old classmate,
that's what I'm saying. You'd have to completely change it up.
Yeah, like somebody would recognize you. And if there's enough interest in knowing your background, because a lot of times when you become a fan of someone, you want to know, like you go through this phase where you want to know as much as you can find out about them.
Yeah.
Especially if you're intrigued, if you can't find out as much, then they dig even deeper and they find out even more stuff. Now, back in the 90s, it was still possible to, you kind of find little things here and there, but you can't Wikipedia anything. You can't Google anything. Whereas nowadays, oh man, we're going to find out so much crap about you. Which, by the way, for anyone that's going to be running for office, like to the current generation, like 20, 30 years from now, they're going to have such a hard time because every single thing you posted on Facebook, on Twitter, even going back to MySpace back in the day, will be found out.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be funny to watch politicians like in the 2030s and up like as they run their campaigns. But that's a side note.
Yeah, because you can look them up. You know what they're saying.
You can look them up from when they were teenagers, because this were the people who were teenagers when this technology came out. And when you're a teenager, you post a lot of stupid shit.
Oh,
like it's not. We did and said stupid shit when we were teenagers, but it's not.
There's no video, so you can't prove that.
It's not immortalized on the internet forever. Whereas the current generation, a lot of their youthful indiscretions,
I think it's
caught on camera.
And the thing is, it's no matter what generation you're from, you have that embarrassing moments, that stuff, because when you have like a video camera and you're young, you're going to do stupid things. You're going to get caught on tape doing stupid things. You're going to make stupid videos, whatever. It's just because you're having fun. You're doing stuff. And later on in life, when you totally forget about them, someone digs it up out of, the graveyard, you'd be like, oh, crap. Especially if you become a politician or someone famous, something like that.
You would have to be...
You'd see old home videos of me and my, whatevers. And
the dancing in the garage
dancing,
or whatever.
Yeah, doing stupid whatevers. Or, you playing your Oprah Reinhardt's violin, Nazi.
I don't believe I have an Oprah Reinhardt, but that's beside the point.
Sure.
What I'm saying is, like, here's the difference. This is the difference, though. Hold on. His name is Friedrich. Fritz to his friends, if he had friends, which he didn't. Mm-hmm. The difference is this, though. Yeah, you can find like embarrassing footage of people even going back in the past. The problem is everybody has a camera now in their back pocket.
Yeah,
that's the difference. And second of all, it does kill off. Going back to the music alter ego discussion, you can't really put on that fake personality. You can pretend to be something that you're not. But I'm talking about like just reinventing yourself with a whole different person. I just don't see somebody coming out with a character like, whether like someone like Buckethead or someone like Marilyn Manson, where like it's this whole other sort of meta individual that exists in their own little realm, but you don't know anything about the background, at least for the time being, as they're up and coming. Now, of course, you would have to actually become big enough for somebody to care to find out enough about you. If you never become big, no one's ever going to give a shit to dig up anything about you. And yeah, you can live in anonymity forever.
Yeah.
But we're talking about like you would actually have to become notorious enough for somebody to give a shit. B.I.G. Who also used sort of an alter ego. Okay. But you know what I'm talking about. That's why like...
I don't know any other thing than...
Notorious. You know nothing. You don't know
the
how... Big Papa Poon. He also had a song about going back to Cali.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
That's LL Cool J, man.
No, that was
going back to Cali.
He also had a song called Juicy.
Juicy.
Sean Connery came out. It's Juicy.
Juicy. Hey, Nutgubby.
Yeah, stop playing with the dog.
Yeah.
He's stealing the show.
Yeah. For those who only listen, I have my doggy with me.
Hello, mascot.
Our little mascot. Say hello, Bubba. He just sniffs.
He doesn't talk. He's a mute dog. He's a mime dog.
Okay, get out of here, Bubby. Anyways.
But do you think we lost something in there? Like that we can't have like those grandiose alter ego shock rockers any longer? Because you would still have to be partly still yourself.
Yeah.
In order to pull off. You can be you can be an edgy person, but it would be only the edgy person. Like you can't have a mild-mannered guy who puts on the goth makeup and then just does that on stage and then goes back to being a mild-mannered guy afterwards. People will say you're being fake, you're being phony. He would have to embrace that character.
He'd have to be there
for life, at least the majority of his day.
Like I said, unless you really fight hard to keep the two separate, and like when you show up at a show, you don't show up as one person and then disappear and you're the other person. If you show up, you're that character the whole freaking time. You're dealing with whatever you're dealing with, the venue people, all that stuff. And then when you go home, you go back to your other one and you keep them completely separate, or you whatever. You go to one house, change, sneak out the back, jump in a fake car, drive around, come up to another house. And they look completely different.
Dude, someone will still catch you.
That'd be way too hard.
Someone will still catch you on the iPhone.
Yeah, someone will get you eventually, so whatever. But like I said, unless you completely change your look, and like
you just make that part of your. You just make that character part of your personality.
Yeah, that's how it.
That's just how your public persona, the way you publicly present yourself. That just becomes you.
Yeah.
Like even though you might have other aspects, that's just the part that you focus on, which is what I think a lot of times it happens for a lot of musicians. Like they start out being kind of just average.
Yeah.
But then eventually, like if you look at the images of Lady Gaga before she was Lady Gaga, like when she was when she was Stephanie, trying to make it in the trying to make it in the music business. Like she would experiment with different looks, but she was just kind of an average looking girl.
Yeah.
Then she went all Gaga out and grandiose, and that's just her now.
Yeah.
I don't think she goes back to being just Stephanie at any point.
She did like musical theater and stuff and whatever, and she got that character and she just went with it, and that's what came up. Good. Not saying that,
but that's the character she's sticking with.
Yes, that's the one she sticks with. That's who she is. She's Gaga,
Right.
Just like the other artists who.
Well, Marilyn Manson is Marilyn Manson 24/7 probably at this point. Even though, like I said, go back to the earliest days of Marilyn Manson. Back when it was Brian Warner, trying to be a journalist student. He wasn't
the kid from Wonder Years. Yes, I know.
Yeah. Back before he abandoned that.
Yeah.
I love urban legends that pop up around musicians.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's freaky. That kid does kind of look like him.
He does.
He looks like a younger version of him.
He does a little bit. Like that guy's not around anymore. No one's seen him.
Well, what about something like you craft a persona that I guess it's easier for just you. Like think of like Weird Al.
Yeah.
Yankovic.
Yeah.
Who he's the whole Weird Al label. Like you don't say his name without saying Weird Al any longer. You don't just call him Al.
Al Yankovic.
Mr. Yankovic. His whole thing, his whole character was part of the comical persona that he had.
Yeah.
And that brings me to that point. I don't really see many parody artists any longer that actually make a musical career for themselves. Like people make parodies of songs. People on YouTube do them. SNL will do them.
I totally heard something different on that.
SNL?
Yeah.
What did you hear?
S&M.
S&M will do it.
S&M will do it. Like, whoa,
hey. Pornhub will come out with their own versions of sexy music videos, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about? Like comedians will do that, but there is no actual musician who happens to do comedy. So Tim Minchin kind of gets close to it, but he does his own original stuff. He doesn't do like parody songs the way Weird Al did.
Yeah.
And I don't see someone like Weird Al coming up again at any time. Like he will continue to produce his stuff, and his fans will still love it, and they'll still listen to it. And I'm a fan of Weird Al too, so I'll continue to listen to it.
Yeah,
but I don't see like somebody else like following in those footsteps and making a full like career out of it.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, that's he cornered the market in that, and he kept it going. I mean, there are other people that do parody songs and stuff like that, but you don't know of them very much unless you're into like comedy scene and into the parody scene stuff. Then yeah, you'll know of other bands who or other people who do that and stuff like that. But Weird Al's the main guy. You know, everyone knows of him because he's been out there doing it for so long, and you know, famous artists actually look forward to having to do their songs and stuff like that.
It's a sign that they made it.
Yeah, and so I mean that's the thing. Weird Al has that, so everyone looks to him to do that. You know, there's other people, like I said, who do stuff. I've heard other songs, parody songs and stuff, and I don't think they're as good as what he does, because he actually takes the song that he does the exact same everything, turns it around to his lyrics, but he does it in the style that it was originally in. You know, other parody artists, they don't do that. They come up with their own thing. They kind of use the same track or whatever, but they completely change everything else.
And a lot of times, a lot of parody songs, they rely too much on the persona of the artist that they're parodying. Yeah. Whereas Weird Al, it's really inconsequential who the artist is that the music is from. And the difference is also Weird Al is actually a smart guy, like music-wise. He's knowledgeable about music.
Yes.
And like whether you like his stuff or not. He knows what he's doing. He has talent when it comes to and he does produce some of his own original stuff. Just the parodies are what he's known for. And they're clever. And that's part of the reason. And he doesn't rely on like cheap shock humor when he does it. I don't have a problem with cheap shock humor, profanities and stuff, but he tends to stay away from it. So it's more of a clean act. Yeah. When he does it, and it means that it has to be polished and good in order to make you laugh, because a lot of times a parody absent of sort of the shock aspect of it is going to fall flat if it's just boring and dry. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like with the Weird Al, he doesn't just stick to one genre. I mean, there's a lot of the parody songs, they try to stick with the same thing that they know. You can go through the catalog of Weird Al, and you have him copying almost to the T rap songs, like Eminem stuff or whatever.
But if you listen to
and you can listen to like the covers of like a Surgeon. He's got close to what Madonna sounded like, Fat and stuff. Like the last time we were talking about it, Weird Al did the Michael Jackson covers. He kept that same type of thing. It's kind of everything was almost exact.
Well, you think
same,
it's the
but
song
it was his
until you hear the words.
It was his voice, his style. But he's really close to what the original artist did, like Michael Jackson or Madonna, Eminem. I think now that even later on, he's honed it even more to where he's almost dead on. Well, which is ridiculous.
Well, that's the other thing that sort of...
I kind of sound like Mike Tyson.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
You can always go for what's the son's character, Dedrick Tatum. My fourth righteousness is my undoing. I paid millions of dollars to endorse these ugly shoes. But the reason why I give Weird Al, he's seen sort of like as a comic character, comic musician. Yeah. But I give him a chance because he's shown more versatility than a lot of actual, what people would consider real musicians. Yeah. He's shown so much versatility, and I think he has to be given credit where credit is due when it comes to his actual talent, his musicianship aspect. That's why I think his and it shows in his parodies. That's why I don't think you're going to get another parody artist like that.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is, I mean, there are some good musicians out there, and I'm sure there's some good artists that can do what Weird Al does, but he's just so good at it, and he's honed it down to where I don't think there is going to be anyone who can do that exactly like him. When his time comes to leave, the whole scene, hopefully there'll be someone brave enough and willing enough to step into his shoes and try to keep that going, because that is going to be one thing that a lot of people are going to be not knowing later on in the future.
It's a strange thing, because it could be one of those things where you don't need anyone to fill that niche, because he's such an anomaly in the musical things. Anomaly in the sense that he's a parody artist who made it into the mainstream big, and he's his brand, the Weird Al brand, his name is well known.
Yeah.
Is it if after his retirement, is it actually going to create a void, since there isn't really a demand for it?
I think the thing is people do ask for him to do things.
Well, I mean, I do.
I mean, you can have like those comedy stuff and those parody artists and whatever. I don't even know what the hell the guy is. Is it Sandberg or whatever? He has that group that he does all those parody songs and those weird ass.
Andy?
Is it Andy?
Yeah.
That guy. He asks Weird Al.
The Lonely Island Boys.
Yeah, he has Weird Al, show up on some of his songs all the time and videos and things like that, because they know hey, let's bring him in. He knows what he's doing. He's gonna give us instant credit in a sense, because he's gonna help out. Just him being on a track or even having anything to do with the track helps out.
But that's what I mean. Like if he retires, I feel like I would rather that there is a void in that market than the people are doing it half-assed.
Yeah.
So it's using bad music as opposed to no music.
That's what I mean is when he does decide, when he's finally done with it and whatever, he moves on or whatever happens, hopefully someone is able to step into his shoes and continue that on, like in that exact style. Because if not, don't try it. I mean, because you're always going to be compared to Weird Al, no matter what happens. You're going to be compared to him.
If you go into that,
if they're brave enough to do it, hopefully they're brave enough to keep with it and get their name synonymous for that as well.
But they would also have to do it in a way where they're not just Weird Al clones. They would have to do it in a way where they're in the same field and on the same level music-wise.
Yeah.
But still make it be clever enough to make it their own. It's original. And it's that might seem like a heavy duty for someone to pick up.
And I don't know. I think, like I said, it's a difficult thing for someone to step into if they decide to try to do it. It would be really hard for some big shoes to fill, whatever. But kind of changing subject, but not really changing it. I was just thinking about it. The Epic Rap Battle people.
Yeah,
I think they actually do a good job of what they're doing, but they don't do parodies. They do their own thing.
Yeah, they do an original.
But they make it funny for history. In a
exactly,
sense.
They do a very clever way of utilizing like what would happen if whatever. I'm trying to think like Adolf Hitler goes up against Darth Vader, or something like that. Where there's a Miley Cyrus versus Joan of Arc, and it's interesting.
Or my favorite one, was it Jim Henson and Stanley?
Oh yeah.
One of my favorites.
Then Walt Disney comes in the end.
Yeah,
that one was pretty good.
Yeah,
and so that's sort of like it's an interesting take on it, but it's still sort of original rhymes and original music that they produce. I would say that's why I differentiate, like they're comedians who are doing music. Weird Al is sort of a musically inclined, is a musician who does comedy.
Yeah,
like that maybe it's a fine line difference, but I cast that difference out there. It also leads me to think that there might be some people who were saying like, well, you have to have a unique spin on it, and maybe this is the point we're going to leave off on. But there are some bands that fill a certain niche where they fill a certain niche where it's I don't think it creates a void when you go like think of something like the Gorillaz, who very unique. They're I don't want to say they're a fake band, but they're an animated band amalgamation of other bands members who came together, and they have guest vocals come on throughout the albums. By the way, they're coming together for another album, I heard, after the longer absence.
Yeah.
But and they do that, but there's really no other competition doing that where they are. So if all those people who are involved in that project decided not to do it any longer, I don't think anyone's going to be like, who will be the next one to step into the Gorillas shoe of animated, amalgamated bands.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you've created a space for yourself that's just you, and a little bubble for yourself, where it doesn't really matter. Like, and I don't mean it doesn't matter like the music doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter. Once you're gone, people continue to enjoy that music, but they're not going to be aching for somebody else to take over in that.
Yeah,
in your footsteps.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
yeah, and I know
it's yeah. I mean, yeah, the Gorillas. I'm starting to think about them. It's like they did they're one of those bands that it's like you just know the band as the character that they are, not as the people they actually are.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, it was a very unique and interesting idea for the people who put it together.
Yeah, it is.
And when you come up with an idea like that, I guess it's one of those things. It's either gonna take off or it won't. And if it didn't take off, we would never know about it.
Yeah, it was a great project to do, and you know the artists or whoever it was who came up with the characters were brilliant enough to not just give them, this is a character. There's actually backstory to each character, each person that's there. They have their own name. People know them as that. As that thing, whatever. So it's one of those, like, they didn't just, this is a person, or this is draw this is what we have. It's like, no, this is the whole character, the whole dynamic of this thing and this whole group, and so on and so forth.
And of course, because they're drawn on, that those aren't really them. They're animated cartoon characters.
Yeah,
but maybe shows that it's not so much about authenticity, which is what a lot of people talk about important music, but it's more about uniqueness.
Yeah,
in some sense, and a uniqueness that can have a mass appeal.
Oh yeah,
like creating a music discussion podcast, which nobody has ever done.
Yeah. Sure, I think so. Yeah, or the upcoming episodes from the new venture going on.
The Bad Year label.
Yeah, for the Bad Year label.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah, so for those who listen to us,
many things coming along.
Yeah, you should be waiting for the next upcoming venture for the Bad Year record label.
Well, things to look forward to. Whether or not we'll make a guest appearance, we'll see.
Yeah,
he won't. Don't get your hopes up.
Yeah. we can't afford him.
We can't afford him, and I'm of the opinion that he probably would not show up even if he could.
Yeah, but if you can get word to him saying, "Hey, that'd be awesome."
I think we might be able to get decent out of him.
He's not
that we would want to. I said we could.
Yeah,
I don't want him, but we probably could.
Yeah. Same for Axl Rose.
Axl Rose, I'm surprised he hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah, no.
Just put out a sandwich, man. He's gonna come out. He's gonna be like, "Are you gonna finish eating that?"
Yeah. Alrighty.
I'll catch you guys next time.
How do you guys see it?